Bruchim Abam B'Shem Evish Etoy we have the cover to have Rav Shmuel Felder Shlit the Hamoed Shir. Today's Shir was sponsored by the Danu Rav Ruben Wolf, Lily Mishmas's father Shmuel Ruben, Rav Felder Shlit. First shaila is regarding the completing the 100 brachas every day. If somebody had shalshudas and the shalshudas continue to late into the night, the benching, to which day does the brachas go? Does it go to Shabbos or does it go to Sunday?
I answer the question. I just wanted to give an done about Meir brachas. Like it says, "Ein mezazim and mezazim." I've done with the meaning of Meir brachas that it really is a gemara in Menachos. Mem Gimel Amid Beis. The Meir Reimer Chayim V'Adam Mevarach V'Chol Yom Meir brachas. Shnem V'Ati Yisrael Ma Hashem L'Ikecha Sham Yimcha Im V'Yira. So Hashem L'Ikecha. And the Gemara says, the Rashi explains, Al Tikra Ma or Meir. The Pasuk says Ma, and don't read the word Ma, read it Meir. And Marsha explains that every time the Gemara says Al Tikra, there's a reason. There's something shver with the Ksam, with the Ksiv, and because of that, Al Tikra, don't read it like the Ksiv, read it like the Kriya. Make a Kriya to it, a Meir. So the Shabbat Marsha says, what's shver with the word Ma? Hashem like Emisha, what's shver with that? So Marsha says, because okay, how could the Pasuk say Ma Hashem L'Ikecha Shemachai? As if it says a year is miltzah zitrusly. Okay, it's very hard to have yira. So how could the Pasuk say Ma Hashem L'Ikecha Shemachai? So now the Gemara says that's why you have to change the ksiv into the kri, that meya, that Davish is asking. Davish is asking not Ma Hashem L'Ikecha. Davish is asking it's meya. Hashem is asking from you to make 100 brachas a day, because if a person makes 100 brachas a day, the way he's supposed to make a bracha, with the kavanah that he's talking to the Eibishter, Baruch Atah Hashem, and I came and I'm thinking the Eibishter and giving a curse of Eibishter, he does that 100 times a day, the way a bracha should be, then Taka, it's Ma Hashem L'Ikecha Hashem, he's not asking too much, he's asking very little, because he'll come to Yira. And that's in the Stechemet brings down the Merit Gizar, that there's a machlekes if the Chiyuv Meir brachas is the Raisa or the Rabbanan. Because the Gemara says Al Tikra, and the Pasuk is Al Tikra and Meir, that means there could be some hold that it's a Chiyuv to Raisa to make 100 brachas a day. So everybody thinking, I see in the face of everybody, that how could it be? Shalit and Birchas HaTorah is the Raisa. And really, Pasha is the only thing that everybody's made is their Isa and Birchas HaMazah. Birchas HaTorah is a Shabbat. So how could anybody hold that Meir brachas is their Isa? And the answer to that is that the bracha that's the Meir brachas, you could pick out make a brachas with their Isa, even if you don't with their Isa, you could pick out anything you want to make a bracha about. You can pick out, if you see a nice thing, with their eyes, you make a bracha on that. If the eyes want a bracha, you can decide to make brachas anything you want with their eyes. That's the Meir brachas. And there's a special chiyuv on Birchas HaMazon that you have to make Birchas HaMazon their eyes, Birchas HaTorah. But that's the Meir brachas. Some holds their eyes. Even the one that holds it's their Rabbanan, it's a chayv their Rabbanan. It's Duri Kabbalah. Everyone has a shayla that every Kabbalah is coming. You don't say something Rabbanan Kula. Whether it's the Reis of Rabbanan, and it's Zilcha Chamed Kazach, and it's Mamash Achiv, like the brought down the Shulchan Aruch. The Chayiv Adam Nevarach Meir Siman Vav. It's Chayiv Adam Nevarach Meir Brachas B'Chayim. And the swarm being down, I think it's a very Medrash. By David HaMelech, people were dying, and he would Kieran found out that there'll be mechazik in the Meir brachas that will stop the people from dying out, and then they will massacre. And fixed up the Indian of Meir Brachas, and people start learning. So it's going to bring down that outside of the Indian of Meir Brachas, the Chiyuv is a Bezunda Mila, making sure you make Meir Brachas. That's has a school to make another person from Yisurim, from Chaylim, and all the different things that Bach brings down. Why is it bring down? A person shouldn't be making and look for kulas and Meir Brachas and Shilas. You should make sure to be Yisrael Choladeis. So from Rav Shmuel Felder Shlit, they bring down that any time people have a tzara or something, when they asked him what should they do, he said they should be mekabel on themselves. Yizara in the Indian of Meir Brachas. They bring down the Talmud Chacham came, he got sick. He asked Rav Shmuel Felder, what should he do to Meir Rachman? Be Mesapa Mechalya? Rav Shmuel Felder said, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not vacant to tell you what to do. But I can tell you what I would do. I would be chazik myself in the Meir Brachas. So it's very important that I have Meir Brachas and not to look like the Bible says, not to look for kulas. So anything there's a machlekes, obviously taking one side is a kula. So now we go to the Shama. It's like Dhamma to the Shama. I think everybody will be able to answer the Shama now on their own. So this thing,
Shalshudas, the late Shalshudas.
oh yeah, but I forgot, I was about to get another thing before. No, the people, I asked a lot of people, are you careful to make Meir Brachas every day? And the response was, no. I said, but what do you mean? It's a chiyuv, and it's shalom deraisa d'rabbanan, but it's a din and shulchan aruch. How can a person not be careful to make brachas? No, it's a power. So the answer, the response was, because I make so many brachas a day, I don't have to. It's automatically there's many brachas. Rish and Esreis, and the benching, and then the shidduch zashacha, and he goes to the bathroom. You have much more than 100 brachas. So what's there to be careful about? And it's a good, very good answer. But the problem is that on Shabbos, there's a problem. Because on Shabbos, during the week, the Shemoneh Esrei is 19. You have 3 times 19. And the Shabbos, the Shemoneh Esrei is 7. So you're missing, on the Shabbos, you're missing 9 brachas. 36. Every Shabbos, you're missing 36 brachas.
29.
But then, 36, but then you have Musaf, and you have a Kiddush. So it ends up, you're still missing, or if you go to the bathroom, you're still missing the 14 brachas every Shabbos. So that, you can't answer, well, I'm going to get it. You don't get it. You don't get Meir Brachas on Shabbos. You're not Mekayim the Chiyuv of Meir Brachas on Shabbos, unless you do something special to make the Meir Brachas. And every week, that means every week a person can go by and mevatel the Chiyuv of Meir Brachas. It's mamish. So what's the Eitzah? What's the Eitzah? Person Einus in Kippur, okay, he's Einus. But when you're not Einus, when you're going to come up, that's the Shemayim after 120 years. And they're going to ask you every Shabbos, you want to Mekayim a Chiyuv? But look at the Shulchan Aruch. It's an oven a Chiyuv. What's he going to answer? There's no answer. So the answer is a person has to make sure he's Mekayim, guess those 14 brachos. So how does he do it? So it's very simple. Very simple. Make sure, take a little wine, grapes, the zaynis, ha'etz, ha'adama, sha'ankel, and then you make the bread of fleshes. You get 7 like that. You do 7 by night, 7 by day. You have 14. It's very simple. Very simple. So that's the Eitzah. And it's the Persian Eitzah. You know, somebody made a whole thing with brachas. So it has all the brachas in that thing. And every Shabbos he takes out the thing, he makes brachas by night. And if you do this in the Suda, you also gain something, because a lot of times there's a shot with the dessert. Should you make a bracha? Should you not make a bracha? Like this, you do this, you get out of all the shilas, you get made brachas, and how shalom al yisrael. Now we go back to the Shaila. That Shaila is, what was the Shaila again?
He had a late Shalshudas,
Oh,
and now he's benching. He wants to chaperayim mei brachos for Shabbos.
So really, the place we talk about also the Shabbos, if you, let's say a person makes early Shabbos, in the summer, a lot of people make early Shabbos. So the davening, the brachos, Meyer, Shemon Esrei, and then they can be making Kiddush also, and they can be benching, and they're making it by day. So they're missing all those brachos. Do they get all those brachos or not? Is it they makabel Shabbos? But is it Shabbos? It's okay. Just taste of Shabbos. But maybe you need the day of brachos. You need on the day of Shabbos itself. It's not the day of Shabbos itself. They talk about that. Kabbalah, it seems, and the same thing, Matzah Shabbos, let's say you're benching if Shal Shudas, or you're benching if it's Seisa Kachabin, it's still Teisa Shabbos. So they bring down from Shlomo Zalman has an Alicha Shlomo, and the Yashiv and the Ashirish, and Selachotma. They want to bring a raya, praying rayas. No, Teisa Shabbos is very nice. It's like a mitzvah Teisa Shabbos. But Teisa Shabbos doesn't make it night, and doesn't make it still day. So they all want to say that you're not Nanakai. They bring a raya. Let's say a person died in Meyer, and then he reminded himself that he didn't say Sphere yet, so he could still, he was Teisa Makabel Shabbos, he could still stay because it's still the same day. So you see, Avada Teisa doesn't make it the next day. That's all. And so in the Shuvas Menhagas from the Shlomo Zalman, from Moshe Sternbach and Chayil Talmud, Hilchas Rabbis el Shabbat. This is a very important halacha to know for Shabbos. Daisen shenahagim l'spal l'echem by yain kayas. People that make early Shabbos, nafsiden 17 brachas. They're missing 17 brachas, and they have to make sure that they fill it up, that they make the miyashim thing. That's they all hold that you're not case. Shemet Levi has a tshuva. He wants to say that it is mitzvah. I just want to say also they want to bring it right from the Kvega. The Kvega says you can't count the brachas of Sudim Apsekes, the brachas for Yom Kippur, because you're eating before you make the Miyay Shafianu. You weren't makabel places Yom Kippur yet, so you can't count it. But so it's Rashi from the Kvega. That after Shechianu, you are counting. It's before Yom Kippur, so you want to bring your eye from the Kirega. He held not like that. But Magen Avraham, that Magen Avraham says Shechianu, you do count because they makabel Shabbos. But it seems it's a machlekes. So like I was magdim that from the Bach that it's not kedai to look for kulas. So I would suggest everybody should make sure that if you make it early Shabbos, you daven say. Shal Shudas later or benching, you should try to make up your Meir brachas without any shana.
So what's the cutoff time? It means that if I make Kiddush after Shkia, is it Shkia? Is it 20 minutes after Shkia? When does it start going for the next day? No, it's a big enough commitment. I finish it.
100%, very big enough. Now, it's a very good question you're asking, but I'm saying, when do you count Sphira? Do you count Sphira after Shkia or after Tzeis?
After 72.
After 72.
Uh-huh.
Now, is Sphira the rice or the Rabbanan?
Rabbanan.
The Rabbanan. So why do you wait to 72?
Minigay Yeshiva.
Hurts it because it says like a tefillah, even though something Rabbanan cool, like a tefillah, you try to be machmer, and I'm not saying you have to wait to 72 like you there, so like, but we don't do we have to shkia. Because first of all, it's a suffix. If Shkia is Bein Hashmashis, and even if so, it's like a sex thing. But you don't do it after Shkia. So if you don't do the Smith period, I don't think you should make them and get the Meir brachas after Shkia.
So the cutoff is
I would
like
say
45 minutes for an hour?
Yeah, half an hour.
Half an hour.
And thinking that are very important.
Well, so the Kiddush would be before, and I might see that the branching would be afterwards, then it would be ready for Shabbos.
Just you figure it out.
Yeah.
Can a partial kazayas of fruit from the Shiva Samina be combined with a partial kazayas from other fruits to obligate somebody to make a bracha main sholish? Or should he make just a burden flushes?
Well,
Or
main shalosh for sure not. He didn't need a kazayas of mezainis. But the shalosh of the half a kazayas of that's a thing that's burden flushes, and half a kazayas of cake or mezainis that's a milkia. So does he make no bracha? Right? I would have said if you would ask me, Pasha, I would say he can't make any bracha right now. Because Manasha, because he didn't need a kazayas and mezainis, he can't make on He can't make a burden flush if he didn't need a kazayas. That's what if you would ask me, I would have said that. But the Mishnah Berurah here says not like that. Mishnah Berurah says that you make a burden flushes and ratio. Because he says, it says he makes a specs. He says, first of all, the Ashitas and the Shem and hold that if you eat a half a kazayas and mezainis, even though you don't make a milchia, but you make a burden flushes. That's what they hold. Because Piratis is nachas chatarga. And he says another sheet is home that even if you don't make a milchia, you don't make burden flushes on but the mezainis is not worse than thing that's you make burden flushes. So if you're not making, it's not a malmilchia because it's not the shear. I'm not to be mitzaref to the burden flushes. So altogether you ate a kazayas. So the Mishnah Berurah says you have to make a burden flushes. You eat half a kazayas and mezainis and half a kazayas and anything else. That's the Mishnah Berurah said. The Kavachayim brings out even a bigger finish. Yeah, like one of the half of the kazayas is a thing that's needs a burden flushes. It's very negaya. There's negaya. Let's say you eat a cookie that has cream in the middle. I forgot what it's called. Sandwich cookie. Right. Yeah, the sandwich cookie. So if there's no kazayas mezainas, so you can't make it on milk. Yeah? But with the cream in between, you could have a lot of times the kazayas. So now, yeah. But you can ask the kasha, but the cream in between is a tuffle. It's a tuffle. But that's what I'm going to bring around that the tuffle is not pshat. The tuffle doesn't need a bracha. The tuffle gets compounded with the bracha meikah. But if you're not making the bracha, mezainas, so then the tuffle is in its time, and you would make it bang the flushes. Anytime you eat it, because I is mezainas, a cracker, you eat cracker, one cracker, but you have liver on top, egg on top, both together. It's a kazayas, even though you don't make al milchia, and you make it very flushes. The Kavachayim brings a bigger finish. Let's say you eat a kazayas and mezainas, and a kazayas of grapes. Let's say grapes. Well, either one is not very flushes. Grapes is alays. And mezainis is al milchia. Either one is not very flushes. But since you're not eating a shear each one, the Kabbalah brings down halacha, you make it burn the flushes. That's it's the case for Meir brachas. Let's say the person's eating grape and a little bit. He's not interested in eating, but he wants to get Meir brachas, so he takes a little bit of each thing. So if it all ends up together, like his eye is all together, you make it burn the flushes.
you also sticking if he eats a half a kazayas bread and a half a kazayas mezainis. That was complicated.
No, that would probably be all left. The bread can't be worse than the zaynis. But that's mefurish in the Mishnah Berurah and Kavachayim. But what's not mefurish is an interesting shayla. Let's say it like this: a person ate half a kazayas of the zaynis. He ate half a kazayas of the zaynis, and he ate half a kazayas of burning flushes. What would be a case of burning flushes?
Ice cream sandwich.
And exactly, a piece of the apple, a piece of banana, whatever. So he has exactly. So what bracha achrayna does he make? Burn the flushes, because it only had the design. So he made the burn the flushes, and he was planning to stop. For some reason, after he made the burn the flushes, he decided, he sees a good piece of cake. So, Einik Shabbos. So he decides, what's the mitzvah of Einik Shabbos? He'll eat that good piece of cake. So now, he's going to eat this with kebab, but it's Kedei Achilas Pras of the first Chatzim Mezainis. Now, together with the first Chatzim Mezainis, he's eating Shabbos, so he's eating a little piece of that new 7-layer cake. So, now, if it's mitzurf with that first achila of the Hivik Zayas, so what's the bracha prayna? Alamechia. So if it's Alamechia, so then, does he make Alamechia now? Well, no, he made a very precious already on that Hivik Zayas, so he doesn't make Alamechia. What does he do? So the Shami Taita declares the Shana, and he says if you're going to say that Hivik Zayas, the first Hivik Zayas, is mitzurf to the next Mizayas, so the place the Brian Fashes is going to be a bracha matala. So he says, so maybe he wouldn't be allowed to eat that cake because he's got him a bracha matala.
That's what it is.
What?
You can eat a kazayas.
No, but it's still mitzvah. Even if he eats a kazayas, it's not going to help because it's one achila. It's one achila. You eat half a kazayas in the zaynis and another kazayas in the zaynis. It's alamechia. You don't make a Brian Fashes.
But isn't once you made the Brian Fashes the first time, is Messiah Das already? Is Messiah Das that is not the Tzarav is the next one. It's like Hesach Das. This is a new Achila altogether.
So you're mechaven to Chaim Kanevsky. The idea that the Chaim Kanevsky brings, let's say a person made the Gazayas of Pass and he benched, and then he used another Gazayas after that. You don't say it's one achila and it'll be today sliya of kedei. Once he benched, that's the achila is finished, and now it's a new achila. So he says that that's what got benched. So here it's the same idea. Once he benched, once he said it by the first, that breaks up that achila. It's a new mais achila. That's what he says. So Rav Shimon says a different story that since when he made the Baron of Pashas, that was the chiyuv bracha, so it was chal on it. So once it was chal, it doesn't become another chiyuv. He was yaitz with that by the Pashas, doesn't. At the bottom of the halacha l'maisa, it seems that fact that once you make a by the Pashas, you wouldn't make al mechiyah unless you eat another gazayit, but it wouldn't leave him afraid because.
A quarter of a kazayas of al-Nechia, and 3/4 of benefashes, so still make benefashes.
I'm sorry.
One is for us, Mr. Brewer was that half, according to some treatises, is chayim anyway, right?
Yeah, but we don't call it that. It's just you use it for a spec
You
straight.
get it, but if you only have
For
a
a
quarter,
spec straight.
but you only have a quarter of al-Nechia. You have a quarter of the kazayas of al-Nechia, and 3/4 of the kazayas of benefashes. You still make benefashes?
Yeah, it's not.
He's not using the Torah.
It's not half and half. It doesn't.
If one mistakenly began Yalav Yalav before it say in Birch Hamazon, what should he do?
You're supposed to. Shmuel brings down that Tadar Shein and Tadar. You're supposed to say would say first and then Yalav Yalav. You have to be not doing it. Say Tadar Shein and Tadar. And the Shmuel brings down. Let's say that Yevin, you said Yalav Yalav first. You yaitzer. It's not Akad and Yevin. Rather, first you learn it's no chiddush. Of course, Tadar Shein and Tadar is like a chila. To have a havamina that should be Akad and Yevin. More. That's what you see in the Hilchos Tefillah. That what do you daven first, Musaf or Shachris? You daven Shachris first. Tadar Shein and Tadar. But it's brought down. Let's say you said Musa. I mean, and that's also good with the food. But Mincha, let's say you have Mincha and Musa. You didn't have Mincha yet, and now the Zan came, and it's time for Mincha and it's time for Musa. What do you daven first? So, Sibir is a different thing, but the B'etz and the Halacha is you daven Mincha first, because Tadar Shein and Tadar. It says, let's say you daven Musa before Mincha. He yaitz. It's a merger that the Prima Garden says over there, that there, Pshat is we're going to make you daven over, so it's going to end up with bracha v'atala, and everything you said. So that's why we say that b'diavad, even though Tadar Shepet, and b'diavad you yaitz. But he says, in the case that it won't be a bracha v'atala, let's say Yalav Yavin would say, it's not a shadow of v'atala, he yells, and even if you said Yalav Yavin before it say, you say Yalav Yavin. And Rav Allen, Maisa has the shul, he comes out the halacha like that, not like the Mishnah Berurah that. If you said Yal v'Yavai before it's say, you have to say over. You say it's say, and then you say Yal v'Yavai. Because Tadash and Kada is not going to even let that. Not like Mishnah. I'm not going to say the Maisa it's a something brachas. In the Bible, halacha we don't like the Mishnah Berurah, but a person has to be very careful. Right? Some people, they know it. The Yaitz Yal v'Yavai before it's say v'Yavai. They're not so careful. What's the difference? It is a difference because there's a side you're not even Yaitz. But a person has to be careful to say Yal v'Yavai.
And if you said Boinei Yerushalayim, if you said Boinei Yerushalayim already, you have to say again Yal v'Yavai, or no?
No, it's like that. And it's shadow of the bracha. But what happens a lot of times, what was the question before?
He started Yal v'Yavai and then he cracked himself.
So what happens a lot of times that the person starts Yal v'Yavai, and then after he started Yal v'Yavai, he chaps, said Elokeinu K'Eloseinu, and before then he chaps, he was supposed to say Ritzay. So he could change it. Elokeinu K'Eloseinu, Ritzay Elokeinu. It makes sense, but he started Yal v'Yavai. Does he finish Yal v'Yavai, or does he say come back to Ritzay? That's a shadow. So who would talk about such a shadow? Right? Chaim Kanevsky, you say. How many people make such a mistake and everything that you didn't have anybody who would talk about shadow? So the Shagasai has a tshuva the shadow. And the Shagasai brings the Gemara in Zvachim, and he has a whole tshuva based on the sugya of the Gemara in Zvachim, Tada Shena Tada, can I get a Mabir al Mitzvahs? The Shagasai comes out that Tada Shena Tada is Kaidan, and he comes out, even if you started Dana Tada, you have to stop Dana Tada and go to the Tada. So the Shagasai comes out with Tshuva, you have to do Tshuva. that once you started, so I mean, even if you started, you have to stop and go back to Ritzay. That's the truth. So Shulchan brings down the Shagasai, but he says the Shagasai is only talking about, you just said, okay, we're saying, Yal v'Yavai, you give your answer. But once you said, B'yem Chag HaMatzah says that, so already it's too late. You Yaitzer Yal v'Yavai. So you don't stop after Chag HaMatzah, go to Ritzay. Once you said the words Chag HaMatzah, you finish. Till Kuni Shagasai, holds the mind, you didn't say Chag HaMatzah. You have to stop and go back to Ritzay. That's the Shagasai. Won't you with Maisa, Achreidim, there's a lot of Achreidim that argue with the Shagasai. The Rimakila has a very long tshuva, and I give the Shagasai that the whole din of Torah Shein Tzadar is Kaidim, but it's not once you started the Ein Tzadar, it's like a design, a ganai, to stop in the middle of Ein Tzadar. So that you don't do. So and it's in the Bir Halacha. Bir Halacha, the same Bir Halacha brings some Achreidim that argue with the Chavos Yor, with the Shagasai, they bring the Chavos Yor, as in the Shuvah Akabanim. So Halacha L'mais, it seems most told that once you start Yal v'Yavai, you do not go to Ritzay Halach Shagasai, and you finish Yal v'Yavai. You finish Yal v'Yavai. At the bottom, it's not so much. So the person has to be careful to make sure that he starts to say and not start Yal v'Yavai, because it's Halacha, you finish. But it's not so much like it's what you should do. That's another mile of benching from the bencher. Because the bench from the bencher, that you see in the bencher, you would say it's first.
This last Sukkot.
Yeah.
Somebody had fully cooked food before Shabbos, and on Shabbos it was carried through a Shus Rabban. Can he eat it?
So, in other words, we're not talking about a Mechal Shabbos. We're talking about a person made a mistake, that he carried the food on Shabbos. In other words, got to asking, talking about that. How could it happen? A person could carry on Shabbos. How could it happen? Well, a lot of people think there's an Erev. So, if there's an Erev, you're not carrying. They didn't have. The Erev was not on this block. It stops in the middle of the block. So they carry. So, well, let's say the person knew there's an Erev, but he didn't know that they forgot to check the air, and this Shabbos was broken, so there was no air. So it happened. So unless he carried, being carried the shaygi. Well, let's say you have a person that's Tinish and Ishba, it's also called shaygi. So Agman, he was Mechal Shabbos b'shaygi. What's the halacha if a yid does it? Is it deraisa? Looking at it's a deraisa, the shaygi. So the halacha is you're not allowed to be nehena on Shabbos. You're not allowed to be nehena on Shabbos. So it says the grain holds the Yavana, the grain holds it like the shaygi could be nehena. But Mishnah says Malkin Tzarech, it could be Saimach on the Shittas Hagra. But the Shonazal and the Riyasha say Malkin Tzarech means that the person has nothing to eat. He has other food to eat just because he won't have the Shalom. That's not what the Mishnah meant. That's not called Malkin Tzarech. So it's not called Mitzarech. So you have to Nachman. So what's the Shiloh? So the Chayr of the Pasha should be us, and the Shiloh is like this. That the Mishnah brings down from the Chayadim, that the Chayadim sand brings down the Machlekes Rishayim. And the Machlekes Rishayim, that could be that Issa that we ask the Shayvi to eat, is only if the thing was Nishkanim, like you cooked on Shabbos. You made a shinny in the Chayvus. Mashkein, you carried with Makkah, that there's no shin in the Chayvus, even though the person was Nechal Shabbos. But since it wasn't the shine of the Chayvus, that's not called a Hanah so much. A Mela, it's not us. So it brings down, the Chayyad brings down the Chalais of Shayim, Nechal Shabbos without a shinny. And the Shmura says, brings down the Shmura for your Zayis, Losh Chayadim. Yet, Mekamak Yesh Lanachmer, Chol, Yisur Teira, Knein Lashon. Tishmi Mavachna, on the Shaila, like any other, just like this one, this one. So, according to the land of the halacha, Pashas, it comes out the halacha, you're not allowed to eat that shon. That's the Pashas. But it is interesting that the Shmur quotes the Chayadim, that's the Chayadim itself. You look at the Nishma Sadim, after he has all Arichas, he does say that you should be machmer by Yisrael like any other Issa Deraisa. But then he is on a few words. He says, but Bezman Azan, Yesh Einim Dein all of Bezman Azan Rishis Aramim. The lot of Shitas hold you need 600,000 to be Rishis Aramim. And we don't have Rishis Aramim. So the Mishnah Sudden says, Yesh Lismach Alam Akilan. You could be Saimach Alam Akilan. So in place that what the Chayadim said, Yishmi Machmer, like I saw, that's how I saw it is the Deraisa. But if it's not saw by our Rishis Aramim, which is not the question that it's Rishis Aramim. So you have three surufim to be made of. First of all, it's Machlekes Rishayim Hayesah. Second of all, you have the Shitas Agra. And third of all, the Chayadim is saying that by our Rishis Aramim will be made of. So I think by Halacha Ma'isa, you'll be able to eat that shalom. It was carried.
Someone thinks there's an error. Is that an assassin?
I'm sorry.
Somebody thinks that there's an error.
Yeah, it could be. That's a shiloh. Misas, it's a shiloh. It's misas. They said, first of all, it's a shiloh can be misasik has the same thing as a. It's not a derisa, right? Misasik is not a derisa, but it wouldn't be a derisa. That's a difference. Yeah.
Can one lane be full of lice if he's preparing to travel?
No.
Or they are preparing to travel?
The first case, it's a massive b'diavad, because the sun bring down many reasons. You're not going to daven it. You're not going to daven before last night.
Lane walk.
Kriyas HaTorah.
Kriyas HaTorah.
Shabbos and the when?
No, during the week.
During the week, he's traveling.
We make a Shabbos
I
also.
gotta have Torah on the plane.
For sure, we're talking about a b'diavad.
I said they. They.
You mean tzibur.
A minion.
Let's say they're going on a trip. They don't have a safer Torah on the trip. They're going to lane. They're laying on the plane. They'll daven on the plane or the way, but they don't have a safer Torah with them. So they want to do, they get kriya. They call this a shachar. So what's a shachar? Shachar is before it's a shachar. It's still night. So you be to the kriya by night, or 2 years and then by day. They read something like that. So there's Truman Marsham, and he talks about the case of Shas Adchar. And he says, Kamen Mekanish V'Shas, is Mochab than any mitzvah is man Kol Hayayim. Kol Hayayim is Kol Halayim also. So it says, even up the Arizal, it's Mikra by night, but here it's a cry in the Shas Adchar. So the Marsham has in Shuvas he holds that they could lay for Aleis HaShachim. Shuvas in Haggis, he talks about Parsha Zachar, that they wanted to lay Parsha Zachar Friday night, that they wouldn't have a minyan for some reason by Shabbos by day, but they had a minyan for night, because they laid it. So he brings down that he heard from the Chaim Oizer, that he held Halacha L'Maisa, that it was Neget, Mamish such a case of Parsha Zachar. The Chaim Oizer said they could lay Parsha Zachar by night, Friday night, but they should make a bracha. He says that it could be was a Parsha Zachar, the Raisa, that's why Chaim Oizer says Meikah, but the Meikah Stam doesn't. It's not a different statement, brings down to Moshe, interesting thing. And he brings down Moshe that the Yisra Moshe, it was Sheikhtim, that they used to get up early and go to the Shvatais. And they used to go before Leisa Shachat. They had made a minyan there, but they didn't have a Sefer Torah with them by the Shvatais there. So they wanted to know, could they lay before Leisa Shachat, Monday and Thursday, that was the Shabbat. So that's what he brings down. That's what he says, that the Yisra Moshe, and Moshe said, he doesn't see any Shiloh. The kind of Kriyas HaTorah is was Sheni Chamishi. It's not din in the davening, and once it's not din in the davening, so any day, as long as it's that day. He says, has no shaykhs into it. But he says, Linear Maisa shouldn't do any shinui for Minig Yisrael. Minig Yisrael is, you do it by davening. Make it a new thing that you do before like Shachar, at night, the lane. That's supposed to be a shana for Minig Yisrael.
So according to Rav Moshe, you can't even do it after Netz without chakras?
If the night's made, so he asks Moshe, he says he asks Moshe, if it's mutter, if you tell me it's mutter, you don't see any problem. So what? The shleitim, the Yerayim Shleimin, the Nastan Balabatim, that you have to freight the Balabatim, it's going to get one thing to another. The Yerayim Shleimin, why can't we tell them it's mutter? Moshe says, you can't make shinuyim. It's better they shouldn't hear Kriyas HaTorah, Shnei Mechishi, than they should make a shinui laying it by night.
That's a kfiyas.
Huh?
That's what a kfiyas. That's not by Kriya.
Right, that could be, I was thinking that. And maybe it's no raya from that, because maybe deal with the Shabbos, they'll do it every Monday and Thursday, I could play Shabbos now, but a one-time thing, it's not raya. Maybe, right. That's true. And another thing I was thinking, like I say a lot of times, I don't know if the Eilam heard, and anything that's not black and white for Moshe's Shuvas, and even a lot of the Moshe's Shuvas, and on the later Chalakim, the David says that Moshe didn't write them. So they asked him, so how do you know which ones he wrote and which ones he didn't write? How is anybody supposed to learn the Moshe? So he said, look, a person that can't figure out himself which one he wrote and which one he didn't shouldn't be learning the Moshe. I'm saying I say over this story a lot of times, but it's very, if somebody didn't hear it, it's very important now. But people think these story bring down the Piyashuas that they said this and this, and they learned it, you know, in Chava, Mahana Chava is not living anymore, Shmuel Miller, and he once told me that he had advice with his friend that he was going to the east side. Shmuel Miller was going to the side, and his friend said, look, on the east side is a factory that sells, did you hear this story? Okay, at least one person did. So, on the east side, there's a factory that sells pants very cheap. For $10, you can get a pair of pants. Do me a favor. You're going to the east side anyhow. Go into the factory and get the pants. Covered color. So he gave him $10. He went into the factory. He sees there a person, the Schwartz, taking care. Or it wasn't the Schwartz's. factory. It was taken in. And he sees the Schwarzer. He says, could I pair of pants size 40? He says, sure. He gives him a pair of pants. He says, here, $10. He says, yeah. Okay, and he gives him $5 change. So he was thinking, well, it's fine, $10. He didn't say anything. And he went out of the store. He was thinking, Lemaisa, it's not his store. It's not his factory. It's not his money. Maybe is there a head that toys help him? I didn't make a mistake, but it's not his thing to make the toys. Maybe I have to go back and give the $10, $5, go to the boss, tell him he hasn't worked it, that doesn't know what he's doing. So, but then he thought, Maisa, does it make a difference if it's his store or not? Maisa, it's a place thing, and I didn't steal it. Maybe we don't have to give it back. Okay, maybe it's like an evading, you don't get it. So then I could keep the $5. But then he thought, no, 1 second. If I don't have to give it back, maybe I have to give it back to the person who gave me the $10. It's his $10. He got change for $5, so I have to give it back. Right? So he didn't know what to do. So Baruch Hashem, in those times when Moshe was very available, so he decided he's going to go into the treasure shrine. He'll ask Moshe to get the answer right away. So he went to the treasure shrine, and there by Rav Moshe, there were 3 of Rav Moshe's Talmidim were standing around and Moshe talking to them. Of his Talmidim of Vakim, that they, Yom V'Layla, they used to be by Rav Moshe. And he asked Rav Moshe the Shaila. Told Rav Moshe to take these, what's all the time? So Rav Moshe answered right away. And he said, Rav Moshe answered him so fast, and he didn't understand. Rav Moshe spoke in Russian Yiddish. He didn't have to head to learn. He thought he understood what Rav Moshe said, but he wasn't sure. So he didn't know what to do. So he decided, he asked the Talmidim who were there what Rav Moshe said. So the Talmidim weren't already there. They had each had gone away. So he went to the first Hamoed, and he asked the first Hamoed, could you tell me what Rav Moshe said? I wasn't sure. He said, Moshe said you have to give back the $5 to the company. You have to give it back. So to him, he didn't understand what Moshe said, but it didn't sound like that was the answer. So just to make sure, he went to the second Talmud, and he asked the second Talmud, I didn't understand, what did Rav Moshe say? He said, Rav Moshe said, you keep the money. Now he didn't know what to do, because this Talmud said that Rav Moshe said. So he said, we'll go to the third one, whatever the third one says, it's 2 against 1. No. He went to the third one, he said, I didn't understand, what did Moshe say? Moshe said, you have to give it back to him, Shabbat. Nice Shabbat. Each one was a Talmud Chacham. So when Moshe answered this, they knew when Moshe is going to say what they say. So they understood. The cloud is, now I know everybody wants to know what the answer to the Shabbat. Pashas, it's a vekishtel. If you go into a store, that's understood that whenever the person by the cash register gives you the money, they're not gonna come back and kind of, I think, made a mistake. That's the Pashas. Maybe it wasn't, he has to give it back to the Shul. That's the Pashas. But the Musa Haskell is that anything that's worth on the Pia Shmuel, pick it up. It's not always reliable. Yeah, okay.
If no one else is available to lay, he's in the middle of the Sukkah de Zimra, can he stop and be the Baal Koireh? Additionally, let's say there is a Baal Koireh, should he stop and just to listen to the laying?
So if he's close to Yishtaba, so then he should just say, finish off the Yishtaba, and then between Yishtaba and Baruch Hu, you'll end with Bar Mitzvah. So that is a Bar Mitzvah to be nice. The shayla is, let's say, he's not close to Yishtaba. He's the beginning of Pesach de Zimra. Taking time. When he davened Pesach de Zimra very slow, the way the command is, so it's going to take time. So the Mishnah Berurah in Simon Samach Vav, Simchatim Chavav. The Mishnah says like this: the near Pasha says this. He holds this Pasha. The Maseh, they took out the Sefer Torah. Sefer Torah Minach al Shulchan. Ve'en lahem mishu yachal likros ba. That there's nobody that knows how to learn. Yim zeh shloim the Krishma, the person that's learning the Krishma Pesach. Kuli yami yachal lahafsek v'nei kamed atayra. He said it's kamed atayra. They took out this Torah, it's just lying there. The half of the nakel of the sign is still on the bed. He said you should try to finish this Torah. That's what he says. The Mishmur brings down Pashat, and it's mutter house covered us every Torah. Now, Mishmur is okay, you can be medaying for the Mishmur is what's Mishmur's case? They took out this same Torah, it's lying on that table. Why did the Mishmur say a bigger Kiddush? Forget about it. They say the Torah's in there in the Kiddush, but there's nobody else to lay in. Only the person that's in the middle that was Christian and everything. So we're seeing from Mishmur that taka kid. But you can say it's not a deity, because the Mishmur says near a Pashat. If they took it out, that was Pashat him. If they didn't take it out, it's not Pashat. Maybe you could, maybe you can't, but it would say Pashat. So it's not Mukha from the Mishmur, what you say. There's a Shuvah in the Shur Shai, and one Shuvah on this Shai. He's in the middle of Sipping the Zimra, and they need a Balkaira, and there's nobody that could lay him. It's just him. He has the shout if he's allowed to stop. So he comes out, he has no shield, but he comes out that it's Mvur, and Simon and Aleph, Simon San that you're allowed to be Meshav Ne'akavim. A person that's a Chashav person, he asks you, you're allowed to Meshav Ne'akavim. You're in the middle of Berchus Christian. He says that there's a Shus Marik, Hashem Rashba, that Kavod Sibber is not worse than Kavod Yachid, Kavod Talmud Chacham, Kavod Sibber. So he says there's a Gnailut Sibber that they should be waiting till the person finishes. So he says that's a Gnailut Sibber, that's not Choshen, it's not like the Gemara says a Yuma, that the Gailah was Gnailut Sibber. So he says it's like Nation they are covered, and Mela, even if it's Krishna, it's Mutta. So come on, the Shur Shai, like I said, the Mishmur doesn't, it's not Mochel Fakir, Shur Shai has a Shuvah. So in the Halacha, it's saying that you could lane, there's nobody else to lane. In Indian, I saw an interesting thing. In the Yishma Moshe, he brings down from the Yashiv that he has for the Yashiv. Let's say a person's in the middle of learning. He davened already. He was the isolator. He's in the middle of learning. And now there's a minion here. There's none. There's minion, and there's a minion there. And they need somebody to lane. So they can get somebody from the people lane. He's not a real Balkair and everything. He doesn't know what the time is. So yes, the Yashiv, does the person have to stop in the middle of learning because these people need a Balkair. They'll get a Balkair, but he's not the best Balkair. So does he have to stop in the middle of learning? So he says it's a initial sibber, the person has to stop his limit to do. Then he said, let's say the person knows what the time is. Let's say the person, but it's not so geshmak, his lining, the doctor and everything. What about then? So, the Yasha said no, that it's covered at Sibba that they should have a Balkaira, that's geshmak Balkaira, and he should stop in the middle of learning. That's what he brings.
What about Pesach Zimmer?
What? Basically, what he would say in the middle of a tired is not tired to do chesed. That's the help. That's a chesed.
Who's it? Maybe Shmuel from who?
No, this he said he asked himself.
Who's that?
Yeshua Leishus. What was the second child? Was it if you're in the middle of?
Should he stop to listen himself? Should he go to Kriya or? Should he continue davening or should he stop and listen?
So what's the shayla? He has a chiyuv kriyas hatayra. You're allowed to stop in the middle of the zimmer to listen. What could be the shayla? So there's in the Lakewood run has a shuvah that he says the person shouldn't stop. The person shouldn't stop in the zimmer to get kriyas hatayra. He gives 2 reasons. He says, first of all, Aishik the mitzvah, patam and mitzvah. Chayes mitzvah, part of the mitzvah. According to Ritva, you're not even allowed to do part of the mitzvah if you want to stop. But there's definitely part of it. So you have no right to stop in the middle of the Zimra and do Kriyas HaTorah. You're part of from Kriyas HaTorah. So he says, well, that's one reason. He says, it's work out if you're middle, you stop at the Kaddish Kedusha. No, that is what I'm already bringing down there. Ice mitzvah, part of the mitzvah is only a mitzvah acheres. But it's the mitzvah, the minyan, that's not part of the mitzvah. Same Kaddish Kedusha is the same type of mitzvah. That's why not part of it. But Kriyas HaTorah is learning. Sukkah is davening. So I say the mitzvah part of the mitzvah. So that's one reason he said. The second reason he said, I'm sorry. Could be that's the Felder. Could be the Felder Ice. It is in the Rabban. The Kriyas HaTorah is also there. It's a shame. It's not like it. But maybe to answer those questions, we can answer that. But now the shaila is, and he says the second reason is because it's Kriyas HaTorah chiyuv on the Sibur or it's a chiyuv in the Yom. The person that didn't hear, missed Psukim or something. So Elton son, it's a chiyuv on the Sibur. When Rav Shmuel Felder Shlit once told me about that, and he said that in Europe they used to know that didn't on the Sibur. So he says, so it's a din in the Sibur, and here's in the middle of Sukkot the Zimra. So Mela, if it's a din in the Sibur, he's not even chayiv in Kriyas HaTorah. So Mela, so it's not birth, it's, I say if one is doing this and he's not chayiv in other mitzvah. It should be done on the second shiloh, because on the side you're allowed to be mafsik, so he's part of the Sibur. Who says he's not on the Sibur? But when that's the time of the Reis mitzvah, part of the mitzvah, he wants to say that. I saw in the Zalman. Sorry.
What could be the problem with listening?
I can't hear you.
What could be the problem with listening to him? You didn't prepare the minutes.
I can't understand.
What could be the problem with listening? What's wrong with listening?
You're not allowed. If you're icing the mitzvah and you stop the mitzvah to do something, you're not allowed to do it. You're icing the mitzvah. You're
I
not
said that
supposed
from
to
the
stop.
Ritva. That's from the
Mitzvah
Ritva.
holds that you're not allowed. It could be a non-shemisser. But everybody's know you're not mechayiv. So once you're not mechayiv, why should he stop it? Because he's not mechayiv. He's not even mechayiv to do it. No, actual Kaim is only if it's not a steer. But to stop in the middle, that's not what actual Kaim Actual Kaim means while you're doing this, you can do it. But you're not supposed to say Psik and Simra while you're hearing to the so you have to stop. Even maybe Chaim Meiser could do two things at the same time. But that's it's sort of Shem Zalman, and he brings down also that he shouldn't. But he says it's a hefsek. It's a hefsek. To stop to make a hefsek the middle of the Zimra. That's it. And I saw another Tzadena also in the Chaim. Yes, the Chazanish. The person hears Kriyas HaTorah while he's davening. The Yaitse. In the middle Shnesher. He says a Yaitse, but apparently a person's not supposed to do that. There's a shub in the Revelation, has a shub in the Chelik Aleph Simcha Vayin Gimel, and he talks about Tchiyah Shaifer. Some have a meaning that they blow the Shaifer, and the people that are davening the slide of the Shnesher are being Yaitse in the middle of Tefillah. So he handles the Hefsek, listening to the so he has a whole shubah there, but he says that it's machlekes shein like kedusha. If you allow it to be yaitze shmei kain in the middle of kedusha, we make them as kedusha, but it's machlekes shein because maybe shmei kain buys like a hefsek. So the Moshe says that's only like kedusha. These things that you need shmei kain. Kol shayfer, you don't need a shmei kain. You have to hear the shayfer. It's not about shmei kain that it's like your blood. You have to hear the shayfer. So just the hearing, not that if I should make later, that's not a problem. There's no, according to everybody, it's not necessary. That's what I should. So then he throws in over there, he says, it'll be by Kriyas HaTorah also the same thing. By Kriyas HaTorah also, it's not even Shmei Kaina, when you hear the Kriya by Shmei Kaina, it's a mitzvah Shmiyah. So also, Gam Kin Lo Yehefsek, in the middle of Shemesha, and you hear the Kriyas HaTorah, Lo Yehefsek Hu Hamoed. So he says, "V'him lo'ifin sh'lo yehefsek mitzad hashtika." It will be an that being quiet in the middle of Shemesha won't be a hefsek mitzad hashtika. Sarah Hafzik L'Shmei is there, then you should stop in the L'Shmei. And he had the Kriyas HaTorah. That's what Moshe says. So, I'm not sure when Moshe he says, what does he mean the case that it won't be a hefsek mitzad hashtika? Every time you're stopping to lay, it's a hefsek. You be mafsek mitzad hashtika. What's the case that he means that it won't be a hefsek? Huh?
Too long, yes.
Oh, maybe that's what he meant. Like Shlomo Zalman says that hefsek gadol you can't do. So maybe that's a person's missing one person. So that's not such a hefsek gadol. So maybe that's what Moshe means. I'm not sure exactly what he meant when he said maybe he meant Shekhet listeners. Well, I'm not sure what it's not clear what he meant. Well, a very nice Shahaya, interesting nice. I had a Hadler once he was going in Barpont, he lived in Barpont, and he was going by the Spanish shul, and he saw Ramesh standing outside there. I guess he was waiting for a ride and everything. So he thought, oh, here's Ramesh. He never thought he would meet Ramesh and be able to ask him a Shaila. So he decided he's going to ask, go on to Ramesh. He went to Ramesh and he asked him, what's the din if you're in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei and the delaying Kriyas HaTorah? Should you stop in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei to hear Kriyas HaTorah? That's the answer Ramesh. Why he asked him that question, maybe it happened that morning to, I don't know. That's why he thought it was Ramesh. So Ramesh has this shuvah, and then Ramesh this shayla. Anyway, he knew he asked Ramesh with a snap of the finger. He heard Ramesh answers all the shayla. So he was waiting for the answer. Ramesh looks at him, and he starts thinking, and thinking, and thinking, and thinking. He couldn't believe it. He didn't know about the shuvah Ramesh, but that he stumped Ramesh. Anyway, after a long time, Moshe says, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. So that's Ma'aseh Shahaya Kafaya. Now, I don't know if Moshe held that he meant to say it's Hasaf Sadodo, or he thought if a young buck is asking the Shana, I'm going to tell him you loud, he's always going to come back and listen to Kriyas HaTorah Moshe Nesher. So to him, I'll tell him you're not loud. So I don't know exactly, but that's, so it's definitely not kosher.
What about Megillah that you have to hear?
Yeah.
And you still know Shemoneh Esrei and they start Megillah.
Well, you should, there's, in the Megillah learning, there's always like in the Megillah learning. Shouldn't stop to hear the whole Megillah learning.
If an Ashkenazi woman married a Sephardi, where they eat the rice and the kidneys and Pesach, can she eat? Before she can eat the goat like the minhagim from her husband, does she have to make a toast and dorim? That's the first shayla. The second shayla is if a husband's masking Torah says, you know what, I'm not so makbid, you could stay with your minhagim, and you could continue being machman and not eating kidneys, rice, and all the stuff that the Sephardim do. Can she cook for him the rice and the kidneys? Additionally, if chas v'shalom, if they get divorced or she becomes almana, what's her status? Does she go? Let's say she did eat kidneys. Does she go back to Ashkenazi minhagim or she stays with the Sephardi minhagim?
It's a lot of Shabbos, so
Yeah.
we should
Yeah. There's more.
What was the first Shabbos that you said?
Okay, the first shayla was stam. She married Ashkenazi woman married a Sephardi, and he eats kidneys and rice, and she didn't till now. So usually they take on the minhagim of the husband. It's just assuming that, does she have to make a Torah Nedarim?
But first of all, you have to know who says what they assume is right.
Yeah.
And she, her whole life, she didn't eat kidneys. She didn't know who says she can stop. So Ramesh has a shuvah, he'll count for 1 day. That he talks about, he doesn't talk about this kidneys, but he talks about they have different minhagim. Isha that have different minhagim. They come from different medinas. How should it be night when they get married? So Moshe says she has to be married like the minute ago. Bein l'chumra, bein l'kula. Where do you get such a thing? Moshe says it's up in halacha. It says havahaylach mimakim u'makim. That was Pesach. The person goes mimakim u'makim. He is talking about doing the halacha at Pesach. So it says he goes. Since he's going there, he's going to Shtakeya, the new makim. So he gets the din of the new makim. And he has to be nice like the new makim. Bein l'kula, bein l'chumra. Whether they're makim or makim. That's bein l'kula, bein l'chumra. So the two. And Samachas, and that was Pesach for a day. And the Moshe says that a lady, when she gets married, it's always, you see, it's called Nichnas Lushas Habam. That's Hamakim is by the Baal. That becomes Hamakim by the Baal.
And we also see from Truma. Truma is a deraisa. They eat Truma.
But that's like an Ebed, also Kenyan Kesef. So
Okay.
it was kind of with Kesef. But it doesn't say that's Hamakim. Right? It doesn't say. Maybe it's a Shishim. Or Moshe doesn't bring you right.
He took it out of Pasha.
It says the Maisa, that's Hamakim. It says the Deraisa, that's Hamakim. The whole Yisrael in the Sulian, she becomes Nimsa to the Baal. And now she's in his bias. He says, where do you see that? Where do you see such a thing? That she's been Nimsa. He says, you see by Kibbut Abay. Because it says, Tishi may be up a Tiro. Why ish for the Isha? Where it says no, because the Isha can't do it. She's the Baal. She's Meshubit to the Baal. Isha ain't sipit biyada. The Shus Achayim Aleh. So Moshe is a Merdek Kasha. Isha that's Meshubit to work for the husband. Is that their Isa or their Abana? Let's say their Isa. Did the Isha have to do work for the husband? Moshe says no. Oh, Indian of Shibud. The Shibudim that Isha has to do, that's another one. So how could the Gemara make a drush of the pasuk? Isha ain't sipik bayada. What do you mean? The Geraisa she is sipik bayada. That's where she is. So he says the pshat of the Gemara is not because she has to work for the husband. Even though there's no shibud, he could dinner Isha shatia eitz bayda. With the Geraisa she has to be by the husband. Shazek in the suin. That's what the suin she goes to the husband. Simply be other Leila, she can't go to the father. Achil says she has to be by the husband. That's kind of the word. So he says that what it says in your Yeridea. Isha and the other last says she Meshubetis Labaila does not mean Shabbatis to work. It means Meshubetis to be with the husband. And that's what he says. So Clever. So Maisa she's Meshubet to be base pilot, so she's by the base pilot. She's based by the pilot. It's like going to a different market. I mean, she has the minhagim of the. That's what Moshe said. She has the new makim. And Mela, she gets paying the kula, that's what he says. So I saw an interesting thing. I saw a kasha, a sefer today. I did a sefer. He has two kashas on it. See what the island, if the island holds it's a kasha. First he asks, where does a Moshe get such a thing? That if you go to the Yenin's Rishus, the Yenin's bias, you have to have the Yenin's market. It says if you go to a city, that Yenin of the market city. But you go to a bias, you get the Yenin money. He says, let's say you move into an apartment house. There's 20 families in the house. All the families in that house, let's say, eat gebrats, or eat kidneys on Pesach. Your Yenin was not. But now you moved into the house, everybody eats it. So you're going to say you have to be not change your minute. You moved into the house. And the second question is, he's going to come out according to Moshe. Let's say Aiden gets married to let's say a Spanish girl. This Shver, he's 8 years. The first few months, he lives by the Shver. He doesn't have a partner. So he moved into the Shver's house. According to Moshe, that you're in the house, you're in his house, he would have to change his minute. Like Shemar Kazav. So he shlots that for Moshe's Shemar.
That's not called Marco.
It's a conscious now. I think Moshe didn't mean the physical house, that stone bricks and stones. Remember, Makim, that's Makim, you didn't mean that's the bias, that's what but that's what Moshe's Yisrael, and the Moshe says that we do it. Now, that's in Halacha, they agree already, it's a Tashbaz. Tashbaz, and he says, Nasa Isha Mashikil Acheres, Ein Savik, Sheisha Hinach Nelis and Baila, Bechol Chiyuv Ishta, Ishta Kigufay, Bechol Advarim, the Niftiram, the Kilas Beisavia, she goes away from all the Beisavia. That was that Milsa the Pshita, family Savik. Shall you see Neshnaim is Subin of Shulchanecha? So it's a Tashbaz that says this idea. But there's a Shaila, out of the Moshe learns, the Yisrael is, she's Meshus Baila. So it's like going Makim. Shemazam and others say also that Avanda she doesn't keep her. But they say differently. Shemazam and others say that B'Shat is when she started her minhag in her father's house, she knows she's getting married. She knows she's getting married. She's going to have do what the husband does. So the Tchila, it wasn't in Hanhaga to do forever. It was on Hanhaga only till she gets married. That's what they say. But everybody's masking that she takes on the minhag of the husband.
Yeah, but that could be, by Sephardi also could be a little different, because let's say they're living in a place of only Ashkenazim, and she never thought that she'll marry as far as a boy.
She never knew, you could never do that. The Shaila is the guy we had to the door. The Shaila is the guy being matter nether. So the Moshe did take the Vara. The Moshe speaks out when he writes it. The Shubri says that she doesn't need het in the darm, and he says if she would need, it wouldn't even help. Wouldn't help. He says looking at her day, Rishon Ches, that it's Mavur, that the only time a person can be mataneh if he made his own hanhaga. So then he goes, hey, I tried to the hachi by nagati. So let's say it's not his hanhaga, it's minigavis and aviyavis and everything. It's not his neder. It's because it's makim. That's it. So you can't even make it in the drum. So that's what Rashi means. If it would be that the reason she's stopping is because stopping, and it's not going to help make it in the drum. But the reason she's stopping is because she's coming in nun makim. That you don't need that in the drum, and that's important to Samachas. When it says that a person goes in makim, he's not like the nun makim bein l'kula bein l'chumra. Nobody says you have to be matanez, and the Kappan speaks on Klar over here. You don't have to be matanez. It's a new din that you don't get them. But that's what Moshe says. Moshe says the reason you don't have to do that in the darn, because it's like the say that we makom and makom. Rosh Zalman also when he says you don't have to do that in the darn, but he says a different story. He says the story is because Sartaita the Hachi, she was neither that she knew she's getting married. She was like she made the nether before she gets married. That's Rosh Zalman said. Somebody asked me, how come everybody holds you don't need that in the darn? Charlotte's hand to understand it isn't because it's the new Malkin, you don't know Malkin, or because I tied to the Hachi, but neither because she knew she's going to get married. Somebody asked me a Shaila. What's a Shaila?
Is that her minhag? Is it minhag? Oh, it's minhag of Malkin. But I mean, I tied to the office.
The Hachi, even the Hungarian, they're also the ladies, it wasn't a tied to the Hachi. The minhag on the ladies was a tied. No, but somebody asked me at this day yesterday a very interesting shaila. His daughter, he's very machmer on Pesach, woman having on Pesach. So his daughter washes now. Now she became a caliph, and she's going to her chassan's house for a meal in Pesach, but she's not married yet. So he wanted to know, and by a chassan, they not only they're not machmer, they eat a lot of things. What things and all different things that he wouldn't eat. He wanted to know, could she eat by her husband's house? She not, well, maybe, could she eat? If you learn like Rav Moshe, that Shatz become into his bias, she's not married yet, she's not like his bias. Only Rav Moshe Zichah would be us. Only Rav Shmuel Felder, you declare, I died to the Hachi, she learned. But maybe a daita hachi is not when she's going to get married. It was a daita hachi that when she'll be a kala, that she'll eat by the chassan, echetesa. So, shalom echetesa. So you'll tell me, be matanega. But if it's a minhag, you can't be matanega. So she's stuck.
One makes a minute go.
Yeah.
The father wants to do chumrah.
Yeah. Why is she never
It wasn't just the father, it was a grandfather, maybe. But it depends. If, that's what I'm saying, it would be like a chumrah, maybe that's not, but a chassan eats gebraks and she doesn't. You know, real things that are real in Hagen. So I know that's the Shabbat. I don't know the answer. So, but according to Moshe, it's a problem. For every Shabbat, I could hear it's also right. I don't know. So good Shabbat. Good Shabbat. Okay. What was
The second part of the Shaila was, if the husband is master, says that, you know what, you don't have to eat kidneys.
No, I
you
just
don't-
want to say an interesting thing. No, that I can't. No, the Moshe said you can't be mataneta, and because it's a minute goes. I saw once an interesting shayla. Bergman, Rav Shach's Aiden, when he became a chassan, it was before Pesach. He went to Rav Shach, and when he was still a chassan, and it was going to be Pesach, and he was going to be by Pesach. He was going to be by Rav Shach. Because by that time they got married and everything. So Rav Shach asked him, "What's your minig? You eat gebrats or you don't eat gebrats?" So Rav Bergman said, "My minig is I don't eat gebrats." So Rav Shach said, "Oh yeah, oh very good, because my minig is also I don't eat gebrats." Very good. So he was happy. Rav Bergman was happy that Rav Shach's minig is also not eating, and he doesn't get into that problem. And when he was by his stipler later, the stipler asked him, were you going to be by Pesach? He says, I'm going to be by Rav Shach and by Shver. So the disciple asked him, what are you going to do about the gebrats? That Rav Shach eats gebrats. What are you going to do? So he said, no, Rav Shach also doesn't eat gebrats. So he says, what? What's matzah? Of course Rav Shach eats gebrats. He can't even not eat them because he's missing all his teeth. So he has to eat gebrats. And his minig is to eat gebrats. So he says, he told me, he said, of course he told you, he didn't want to make you uncomfortable. So he made believe that he eats gebrats, that he eats gebrats, but his minig is not. So the Shtaika said, you have to be mataneda. Come, we'll be mataneda. And he was mataneda. So it seems to see how that you can be mataneda on this thing. So it's a shara. I, the Moshe say, that the thing minig is you can't. And others say the same thing. I saw the Sefer. He's not talking about this story of Shabbat. He talks about that's a thing about this big mountain. He wants to say that minig of the drugs was only a mo. The thicker minig was a mo. That the matzahs were thicker and everything, and taka sometimes they were flour. But our matzahs were so thin, so it's milzulei shkicha the cloud that there should be flour in our matzahs. That should be a shadow of the drugs. So he says so. It's a takeoff of the original minig. But since it's only a takeoff of the original minig, that doesn't go into minig avos, and maybe that's what he wants to say. That's the pshat, why people are made to be not in that.
The size of the matzahs didn't change from Rav Moshe's days to today. Maybe in the times of Chazal, there was a tefach thick. But today, from Rav Moshe till today, it's the same thick.
What is relation?
No, talking about the kidneys. Kidneys
No,
are
we're
drugs.
talking about the drugs.
No, I'm saying that the matzah was much thicker then, and then therefore there was flour in there. Maybe. But Rav Moshe knew that. And he still said that.
Yeah, Moshe was talking about
Moshe
kidneys.
ate gebrats.
He was talking about Stalin Hogan.
And still, you don't change it up. You see, you're saying that the original.
Moshe's not talking about drugs. Moshe's talking about stamina. He's not talking about the case of drugs. Moshe doesn't mention drugs. But yes, continue.
The second part of the Shaila was that if the husband is not particular, he says you could keep your own minhagim and you could be machim on the kidneys. The Shaila was if you're allowed to cook for the husband the kidneys, even though she's machim on herself, going back to the minhag of Eseinu. But I just want to add that according to Moshe, that if this woman is allowed to eat kidneys and then her husband lets her stay with her minhagim, and she takes the chumrah upon himself, then 5 years down the line she says, you know what, I'm done with it. Now I'm going to eat kidneys with the whole family, or keep the shalom bayis. Now she would have to now. I'm saying the second part of the shayla was that if the husband says, you know what, you could keep your menhagim, your Ashkenazi, you don't want to eat kidneys and rice, you can stay like that, I have no problem with it, it can be fine. And she says, fine, I'm going to do it. But, so the shayla is if she's allowed to, the shayla on the paper, if she's allowed to cook for him kidneys, even though she's keeping her chumrah of not eating kidneys, not eating rice. I just wanted to add that we're just being by Indian that this woman, if she's accepting upon herself to the chumrah of kidneys and rice, this is on her own belief, this is her own chumrah. So now 5 years down the line, if she wants to be mataneta, she would, even according to the Bush, she would be able to mataneta. Because this is not.
She would have to.
She would have to, yeah.
The Rav Shmuel
But-
Felder speaks that out, what you said.
But yeah, back to the shayla. The shayla is if she could cook for him, even though she's machmar her own.
And a person is machmer, not to eat the brachs, not to eat kidneys, could they cook for somebody else?
Right.
So, pashtus, as long as the other person's eating it, so when what's the problem? There's a shooting around pound, and even in the Gimel, he talks about people that the minute Sfardim eat kidneys on Pesach. But there are other Sfardim, even though they eat kidneys, they won't eat rice. They won't eat rice. Because rice, a lot of times the fields of rice, for some reason, they have wheat that flows into them, and the wheat gets mixed with the rice. And it's very hard to tell the difference. Somebody showed me, it was a pellet gazach. Showed me rice, and there was 2 kernels of wheat. I didn't have, they mamish look the same. Unless you're bucky, and you're not, and you're able to tell, you can make a mistake and think everything is rice. So that's why there's special Sfardim and deal that they check your rice for you. They pay them, they check it.
They triple check the rice.
What?
They triple check the rice 3 times before they use rice.
Right, but some people that triple check don't know how to check. Because no, they're triple check. So there's special people that know how the difference, what it looks, so they check for you. Because money. But Akban that made this, Alan had this minute that some people have a minute not. So he talks about these people that don't eat rice. Could they cook the rice for the other side that do eat rice? But it would be negated. So he brings it. It's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch. But let's say a person's fasting. They made an end that they're fasting. Times chalayim, whatever it is, they're fasting on Yom Tov. Could they cook for somebody else? For everybody else that's not cooking, so you would say, what's the shayla? Ramah brings down they're not allowed. They're not allowed. Since they can't eat themselves, they can't cook for somebody else. So Paulus brings the chita. Chita says no. It's different. There they can't eat anything. But the Rabbi wants to bring rice. He argues with chita. He brings this man. No, as long as you can't eat this thing, you can't cook for somebody else. That's what he comes out. You can. But it seems most people, most what I saw is they go with the chidars, and as long as you're not, you could eat other things, you're allowed in, and that's in the whole dinner Ramah. Mishmur brings down is not pasha. That others argue in the Ramah altogether that they hold even the person's fasting. Because they can be not on such a thing. And the code, that would be
The wife cooking for him according to Moshe, she's meshubet. So maybe when the husband said that I'm allowing you to keep the kidney as chumrah, but who says he gave up the fact that she's meshubet him she cooks for him?
You could say that also.
The rice has wheat. The rice has wheat. She's making chametz.
I didn't see what you said.
If she's going with the chumrah, then the rice might have wheat in it. And she's making chametz.
It's just a kummer. She's not.
No, the husband happens.
It's just a kummer. Okay.
Could you just finish up?
Which
That was Masker.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
we had the third part of the shayla was that if they get divorced, Chas v'shalom, or does she go back to the minhag Abbaseinu, or it doesn't matter if for kids?
I saw that over there. That Tashbat says that when they get married, she has a woman in that. Tashbat talks about it. He says that the Salman is Garsha, he makes a chilik about what the Gezach. The Tashbat makes a chilik. If she has children from that husband, then she's still negri after the husband, and she keeps the husband. If she doesn't have children, and he says that she goes back to her base others, the original.
So it is like truma. He was right. It is like truma.
That's what he says.
There's also a problem with the pots.
Let's say a person doesn't want to, she doesn't want to go back to her father's things. Well, let's say she doesn't live with her husband, with her father. She's not going back to her, she's living by herself. She has no shaykhs to the husband. Someone to say this word, just like Shlomo Zalman says that when she was naive, she knew she wouldn't be like that. The same thing, she knew that she's going to get married and she's going to get divorced. All these type of things. I just want to say, we're finished.
Yeah.
I just want to. The Hikazach is everybody has to be have siyata d'shmaya. Not to be, all these things are chumras, the brachs are chumras, maybe there's flour, maybe there's wheat and everything, and all the things are chumra. But the gezach is if a person wants to be machmer and make sure not to eat chametz and pesach mashu, he has to have siyata d'shmaya. I saw at my son that there was this person that he was very, but he was like very nizer in chametz and pesach. Before Pesach, he had different avodim. He was a shikla b'liyan. He had different avodim, place, but he made them work to the bone. They had to wash the floor. That's not finished. They had to wash the ceiling, the walls, every chair, every mashu. He made them work from day and night because he wanted to make sure that he doesn't have a mashu chametz. And Pesach night, he was very, very happy that from all the people in the town, he's the one that for sure has no chametz in his house. He was very happy with himself. And he decided, we'll go, there was a Rebbe that lived in the town, we'll go to the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, anyway, he goes into the Rebbe, and as soon as the Rebbe sees him, the Rebbe says, what? Why are you here? Go back home. You have chametz in your house. He says, what? He says, yeah, look in the barrel of water. They didn't have a sink with water, they had barrels. So look at the barrel of water, there's chametz there, run home. Couldn't believe it. He runs home, he looks in the barrel, and sure enough, there's a sandwich there. He couldn't believe it. How did it happen, such a thing? So quick, he got the sandwich out, I don't know how he got it, did it and everything. And he runs back to the Rebbe, and he says, Rebbe, I have 3 kashas. First of all, if you knew I had chametz in my barrel, why did you wait till I came to you? Why did you send a shliach to my house and tell me get it in the chametz? Second of all, how did it happen? I was so careful that I shouldn't have mashon. How did the sandwich get in the thing? And third of all, if I was so careful, the Eibush saw I was so careful about chametz, why did the Eibush let this happen to me? How did it happen that the Eibush let the Rebbe? So the Rebbe said, I'll answer all your 3 kashas. All your 3 kashas. What was your first kasha? Why, your first kasha was, how can I answer the truth? I'm asking you, you think I have Ruach HaKodesh that I see everything goes on? I look in everybody's houses through the windows, see what everybody's doing? Somebody comes to me, I look on the far end, and I can see by that which affairs they have and everything. And then I figure it out where you have it. That's, how can I tell you before you come to me? I don't see you. That's the answer to your first kasha. What was your second kasha? That you were so careful. How did it happen? He says, yeah, but you worked the people so hard, the guy so hard, they wanted to get even with you, so they put a sandwich in the compound. And what was your third kasha? The Eibush saw you working so hard. So how did it happen? Why did they? I want to ask you a question. Did you once, the whole time you've been for Pesach, did you once daven to Hashem that He should help you not have a mashul chametz? Tell me the truth. Not once. You think you could not have chametz on Pesach without the start of the Shemaya, without davening to Hashem? Hashem showed you a lesson. If you think you don't need help, you'll have chametz on Pesach. So everybody should have a kosher Pesach.
Shmuel Felder Shlit of the Valley Yeshiva. Also like to thank Rav Ruben Wolf, Shlit of sponsoring today's share of the Nishmat Father of Shmuel Rubin. Mincha. Tomorrow makes a Shem Rav Submission to it.
140.
140?
That's the book.
Usually we have half a and 140.
That's the money.
No?
Other than it.
Bring a flash drive. Whatever I have.